Hi, and welcome to CinemaJam Versus. Today we will be discussing the 1992 Dracula version of Francis Ford Coppola and the 2024 Nosferatu by Roger Eggers. I'm very excited to talk about this one with Pablo today, so let's jump right in.
Okay, Johnny, this one's got your number on it. Let's jam.
Hi, and welcome back to another CinemaJam Versus. As always, I'm Sebastian Gomez from Austin, Texas, and from Montreal, Canada.
Hello, Velez. Hi, Sebas. Hi, everyone. How you doing?
I'm very excited to be talking today about these very dark movies. I don't know if I ever told you that the vampire movies were always the ones that scared me the most when I was a little boy. So I was always hoping that no vampire will jump to my window. The fangs always creep me out.
I didn't know, Sebas.
Well, now you know my 12 years old nightmares. Okay, so CinemaJam Versus is the podcast where Pablo and I discuss different movies in a very obvious, sometimes obvious connection. Sometimes we will try to be light connections, but these are definitely, movies inspired by the original movie book by Bram Stoker's Dracula, who is called Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992 by the director Francis Ford Coppola. This is an interesting movie because the connection to the original material, I think, is pretty obvious, but it has an impressive casting. It has Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins, Keanu Reeves. We will actually talk a little bit more about the characters they play, but I think every single one of them have an interesting place in the movie.
Don't forget about Tom White, because Tom
I
White
was going
is
to,
one of the most amazing characters in actors in that movie.
Yeah, that's going to be a difficult question when we talk about the characters. Who did it best? Because Tom White was pretty good and as Renfield in Dracula. And the other movie is Nosferatu from 2024, directed by Robert Eggers. Screenplay is by himself, but it's also based on the original Nosferatu screenplay from 1924 by Henrik Kalin, obviously the Dracula book by Bram Stoker. This one is a whole different type of cast. Actually, I think this cast is very modern, very diverse.
It's a very strange casting.
Casting,
we're going to talk about it, but it was an unexpected choice.
I'm going to mention I'm going to mention them as so the cast is Lily Rose Depp, the daughter of Johnny Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Bill Skarsgård, someone that we already talked a little bit in the past because of the movie It, Aaron Taylor Johnson, William Dafoe, that we also mentioned in other movies, and Emma Corrin. And I actually think Knock, that was played by Simon McBurney, was a very interesting character in Nosferatu as well. So, and that's the Renfield. In this one is called Herr Knock. I actually want to read the summary from IMDb for these two movies because it actually allows us to understand a little bit the difference.
Go for it, Sebas.
So the IMDb summary from Dracula is: the centuries-old vampire Count Dracula comes to England to seduce his barrister Jonathan Harker's fiancée, Mina Murray, and wreak havoc in the foreign land. And the IMDb summary for Nosferatu says, a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and a terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in his wake. Okay? I think
it's a more catchy summary than one from Nosferatu. Anytime you put the term Gothic and, romance or whatever next to it, it
sounds catching. A little bit more interesting, yeah. I mean, the romance in both movies was actually surprising. After rewatching them a little bit, I was surprised how deep the romance and the triangle is so important in both movies. So that's something that we definitely have to talk about in the story. Okay, should we jump right into the questions?
Let's do it. Let's put these two amazing visual masterpieces to battle.
Definitely, this is going to be a difficult one. I actually don't know who is going to win. I think it's going to be a difficult one.
I have a preference, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll probably figure out who will you like better, but yeah, let's find out. So our format is basically we will actually be asking around 6 questions or at least 6 topics, and we will review which one was better in those 6 categories: story, characters, everything related to the movie production. If there is a tie, we will go with some bonus rounds. But yeah, you're gonna ask the questions today, Pablo. So let's jump in.
Awesome, let's do it.
1.
So let's do round 1. So round 1 is the one of the 2 movies that we're talking today, either Bram Stoker's Dracula or Nosferatu. Sebas, which one surprised you the most?
I actually think, because I haven't watched the Bram Stoker Dracula in such a long time, that one surprised me more after rewatching it. Last year when I watched Nosferatu, I was pleasantly surprised, and especially because I watched it in the theater. But this time I have to say Bram Stoker's Dracula is the one that surprised me more. What about you?
So, Sebas, the first time I watched Nosferatu, I think I told you that I felt disappointed.
You
that I was
yeah.
I was really hoping, I was really wanting to like the movie because
we love the director, right?
We love the director.
The Witch is one of my favorite horror movies.
Same here. And I think he's an amazing director who has a great taste for cinematography and style. And the movie is a beautiful, beautiful masterpiece of style. But there's something about it that didn't click with me. This second time around, I was able to absorb more. And my disappointment was less than the initial one. But also after seeing Coppola's movie, I also gotta give it to him. I mean, his Dracula version is just, how can I define that? Sebas, is non-stop amazement. It's like from the first opening to the very last scene, you're always being given something that is going to throw you off fully, completely. Visually, story-wise, is such a masterpiece that even though Nosferatu actually is also an amazing movie, Dracula is in a different level. I would say the point goes to Dracula.
And in this case, we're talking mostly about the story, right? The first question is always about story and script. And I think that story is more well balanced. We learn more about Mina, we learn more about Dracula, and we learn more about Jonathan. So I think it's very well balanced. Yeah,
exactly. And the story allows the Count, so Dracula, to be a human, to be a normal person, not this animal that was, what they had to do in Nosferatu because of the book of the copyrights, right? So it misses the whole element of how he, engages with Mina, how he romances her, and like as a normal person. So that's why I think the story is even more is stronger in Dracula.
So and it gives the character, the Count, an origin story that you connect with it. So you feel that romance. So I think is very well done.
Yep.
Okay, round 2.
Let's do round 2. So round 2 is all. This is gonna be a cool one because this is all about the characters and acting in both movies. And the thing is that since the story is about characters that are the same in each, but played by different actors and actresses, Sebas, let's go one by one. Let's compare, first of all, the leading man in each of the movies. So in the case of Dracula, it was Keanu Reeves as Jonathan Harker. Thomas Hunter in Nosferatu, played by Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult.
Hoult, thank you. That was the name that I was remembering.
I'm going to give it to Hoult. I believe Keanu Reeves was miscast in this movie. I'm not going to deny it. He's his line readings were just, oh my God, they were so bad.
Yeah.
Especially because the other people around him are so good. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. Yeah, I have to give it to Hoult. Yeah.
Even though this guy, Nicholas Hoult, to me, he's not a good actor. I don't know. I
actually love him. I don't know.
I mean, he's okay. I kept on thinking about Reinfeld, the movie that he did with Nicolas Cage.
You're right. I forgot. Yeah.
So I wasn't able to, separate that movie from him now doing, Jonathan Harker, basically. I don't know. He's more like a comedic type of actor than a serious one, I want to say. But compared to Keanu Reeves, he's Anthony Hopkins. So let's give the point to him.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna defend Hoult a little bit. I mean, he had a great year this year. He had a group of great movies, and last year, especially with Nosferatu and Judo #2 and other dramatic movies. So I actually like what he does now. Okay, go ahead. The next one, the next character.
So the next character, obviously, the leading lady. In Dracula, Winona Ryder as Mina, and then in Nosferatu, Lily Depp as Ellen. So, who you prefer?
So the reason I wanted to divide the characters is in this one in particular because I do believe Winona Ryder was miscast, but she did a good job. But Ellen Rose Depp, she goes really deep in the character. I mean, and it's closer to an exorcism movie, right? I actually remind me a little bit about the Exorcist and the Last Exorcist. So it was maybe too much over the top.
It was over the top. That was my feeling too. So I was like, obviously, she's a better actress than Winona Ryder. Like she trained more. You can see that.
You can see it, yeah.
But it was over the top. Yeah, every single scene when she was having a fit, like one of those attacks or possessions, whatever. I found them like so boring, Sebas. Like maybe the first one or the second one, you're like, yeah, the first couple of scenes, you're like, oh, okay, that's happening. But then it's like so frequent. Then it's like boring. And then whereas Winona Ryder, there were more tones to what she was doing in the movie.
It wasn't like immediate change, right?
Yes.
From the beginning, Ellen was weird. Winona Ryder or Mina was like gradually changing, and I really like that. So
exactly.
Yeah,
so we give
let's get it to Mina then.
All right, let's give this one to Mina. So this is D as in Dracula. Perfect. Okay, so next one is obviously the Count, either Dracula, so Gary Oldman, or Count Orloff in Nosferatu, Bill Skarsgård.
I have to give it to Count Dracula. I mean, definitely
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman.
Of course. Yeah.
He's a master.
Yeah. No questions.
And especially because we see the monster, we see the old man, we see the young man, and every single one of them is perfect, played by Gary Oldman.
Especially the scenes where he's younger or like normal in London and he's trying to woo to, like romance Winona Ryder. Oh, that's beautiful.
That's great.
Amazing.
And the death scene, his death scene is perfect. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Next, the demon hunter or the vampire hunter, better. So Van Helsing, Anthony Hopkins in Dracula, or Willem Dafoe as Professor von Franz in Nosferatu.
I'm going to give it to Dafoe. William Dafoe, at the time of his life playing this character, he was so weird. Anthony Hopkins, he was having fun, but I don't know, like he didn't want to commit to the complete weirdness he was like, sometimes he went over the edge, he pulled back. I don't know, it was like kind of weird. But I love that Willem Dafoe from the beginning was like, oh, I'm a weird old man.
But I think both of them wanted to be weird.
Good,
yeah, and the role was asking for that. Anthony Hopkins was creepy.
He was like touching the women and all that.
Yeah, and there was a couple of scenes where he was like smelling like Winona Ryder, like in a really like weird creepy way.
Yeah.
I don't know. There were a couple of scenes that it went, in a strange direction that wasn't really like needed. Willem Dafoe was weird, but stayed within the character of the vampire hunter. It didn't do anything beyond that, like anything strange with Lily Depp. So and I really like Willem Dafoe. He's an amazing actor. So let's go with him.
Oh,
perfect. Now, who's the better Ryan Phil? Either Tom Waits for in Dracula, or Simon
McBurney
in Nosferatu. Which one do you think is best?
This is the hardest one, to be honest, because scarier, I think McBurney, but in the context of the theatricality of the Dracula movie, Tom Waits made a great one. And I remember we talked about him in
Fisher
the
King.
Fisher King in the Terry
Yep.
Gilliam movie.
Yep.
And I remember, okay, we need to definitely talk about Tom Waits in this one. I don't know, man.
If you ask me, Sebas, I give it to
To
Tom
Tom
Waits
Waits, I
because
figured it out.
of everything he does. He's such an artist. His music is as strange as his acting. And I don't know. He gives more depth to the character. Like you could tell that he was at some point like a normal person that was possessed or enchanted by Dracula. There's something about Knock that I didn't fully completely like understand. Was he like someone that made a pact or something? I didn't quite understand how he became this disciple of Nosferatu. And I'm not saying that Simon McBurney's acting was not good. I mean, it was amazing, but there was more to the role, to the character that I think Tom Waits was able to showcase in Dracula. And he's amazing. He's a great artist.
Yeah, let's
I'm
give it
biased.
to
I'm
Tom
biased.
Waits. Yeah. No, I knew I wanted just to talk about it because I knew it was just amazing, and I wanted to talk about it because both of them do a great job. Yeah.
Especially the scene. It was a scene where he kind of warns Winona Ryder and tells her like to escape, like to get away. That was like the moment he was acting normal. You could totally see that he was pretending being crazy because he was able to, be normal for like a couple of minutes to give her that warning. And I think that showcased like how amazing he was doing before, the portrayal of Rainfeld. I didn't see that with Knock. Only at the dead, when they were like stabbing him at the end, he somehow was normal, like human at that moment, asking to be killed. But since he was not interacting really with another character, the way that Tom Waits was with Winona Ryder, I think that's where the difference lies, Sebas.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think he did a great job. Yeah.
Okay, we got one more roll, and then we can also do a little wrap on this question, which was taking longer. But I mean, we had to do this. Sebas, the supporting female role in both movies. We had Sadie Frost doing Lucy in Dracula, and then Emma Corrin doing Anna, the wife of and best friend of Lily Depp in Nosferatu.
Yeah, let's give it to Lucy. Lucy had a bigger role in Dracula than I expected. It had been a long time since I watched the movie, and I do believe she did a great job. She was basically still in many of the scenes when she was in. So yeah, Lucy did a great job.
She had the two most amazing scenes in the movie. I mean, there are like so many good scenes in Dracula, but there are like two that stood out, and yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec.
Okay.
I agree. Let's give the point to Lucy. Sebas, who stole the show? Just to wrap up.
Gary Oldman, man. Gary Oldman is the movie.
I agree.
That movie
100%.
wouldn't be the same without him in there. Yeah, it's just amazing looking him. I mean, I always love him. There are many movies that I love from him, but then
I know. He's a masterclass of acting. All right, let's move on to round number 3: visuals and direction. So overall style, and this is gonna be a very difficult one, Silas, because we got two movies that are masterpieces when it comes to visuals and style. But which one would you give? I mean, from the perspective of the essence of the book, the Victorian and Gothic essence of the book. Which one do you think stands out?
I mean, I put the note that Dracula is like a theatrical play with a Victorian sensibility, right? Like right before the turn of the century, with the cinematographer and all that. But I'm not going to deny that rewatching Nosferatu, that gothic haunted, it was almost black and white, and he also plays a lot with shadows like in Dracula. So I'm tempted to give it to Nosferatu because of that. You can tell that he's also inspired in this Dracula, right? It's not just in the original Nosferatu, but in this Dracula. So, and I mean, you felt the cold, you felt the dread, the plague, everything that was happening. I don't know. What do you think?
This is a really
This is hard.
difficult. This is the hardest question so far in our verses, and I guess in the whole like history of this podcast.
Well, I want to clarify the category is the direction, right? So which direction, that Victorian quality or theatrical quality?
Thing is that I think that's a good clarification, because Robert Eggers is an amazing director. We said before he made one of our favorite movies, The Witch, and he was clearly doing a remake of Nosferatu, the 1922 movie, the Symphony of Horror, the German Expressionist movie. And to me, that's what basically makes this movie differentiates it from Dracula, from Coppola. Paso el timer.
20. Oh boy.
Carajo. So the main thing is that Eggert had a blueprint, had Nosferatu. He was trying to build on something that already existed and had expressed this whole Gothic vibe. So he did an amazing job in recreating it, but I don't think is as original as what Coppola did in Dracula. I would give this point to Dracula's House.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, and let's give it to Dracula. You convinced me.
Perfect.
Ignore the next question. I think we should just give it to Dracula. That's it.
Okay, perfect.
So the vibe and the soundtrack.
So that's going to be our round number 4. So, Sebas, which one had the, in terms of, soundtrack and vibe? I think you wrote here in the notes that Dracula comes out as a dark fairy tale, while obviously, Nosferatu is more like a funeral type of invitation. So which one do you choose? Which one stands out or you prefer?
Definitely, let's go with I do love the music and the vibe in Nosferatu. I was listening to the music a little bit, but it's too dark. It's too dark. It's just too much. It's just too dreadful. So I'll give it to the dark fairy tale of Dracula. Next
round. So round number 5. 5 is quotability and memorable moments. So both movies do capitalize in the reveal of their counts, so on their Draculas. So if we go about saying which movie did the best reveal, which one would it be?
Dracula. There was something just in that color and that wig and the way he behaved and the shadows. Yeah, I really like how he was portrayed. Yeah.
You know what, I disagree. It's the only thing where I think Egger did something amazing, which was portraying Dracula or Nosferatu, Orlok, as someone who be from Eastern Europe, from this older like moment in time, like with the clothing, the mustache. It felt like you were seeing someone of this sort of like Romanian background. The way he kept him kind of like in the backgrounds, like for so long, while Nicholas Hoult was like arriving, sitting down, signing, you couldn't like fully see his face, for a long time until the attack.
Yeah,
I thought that was really, really well done.
And you know what? I actually love it. I watched it just earlier before today. I think it's very good because the reactions of Nicholas Hoult actually give you a lot in that regard, right? When he's on serving wine on one side and he appears in the chair, and then he's taking a paper on the other side of the table and he's just jumping around. I agree. And it's more like, he's off focus, and Nicholas Hoult, you can feel like his heart is racing now. Like, I don't know how he did it, because you could feel like, okay, this guy is gonna suffer a heart attack. He was pretty well done.
I think
if it wasn't for Nicholas Hoult, I will give it to maybe Gary Oldman. But I agree. And let's give it to Nosferatu. Yeah.
And again, a big disclaimer: we're not saying that Gary Oldman is not the best Dracula, because he is. It's just the reveal, how we came to know him in each movie. We think that it was better done in Nosferatu. And
it was like black and white. That's one of the scenes that I said, like, this seems to change, basically. Yeah. And and when he picked him up in the in the carriage. I just love like he's in the crossroads and the yeah, I also like
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Okay, Sebas, last official round of this battle. So if you had 2 hours, I guess, say this the end of the world, the missiles from the Russians are raining down on the US in Texas because you live next to a missile silo, and you only got 2 hours. I mean, they're very slow missiles. Which of the two movies would you watch?
Dracula. Dracula is just more fun. It's just more romantic. The other one is too dreadful. It will just make me sad. I mean, it has a happy ending, but yeah, is just the moment when the family of Taylor Johnson is killed is still one of the more traumatic things that I ever seen in the movie theater.
So to that point, Sebas, and I agree with you. So let's give the point to Dracula. Just, I know we're a bit over time with this episode with the format of Versus, but I just wanted to ask you one bonus round in each movie, what's the WTF moment? And, which of the two is the most WTF moment in this battle?
So in Nosferatu, I think is when he kills the girls. Is just you couldn't believe that's happening. And you can see basically what is happening. But in all the sex scenes I was surprised how much sex scenes are in Dracula. I was like, what the hell? And especially the first one with the werewolf, it was wow, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty raw.
But
I actually,
yeah.
the scene that I always remember, and I will always remember, is the one with Lucy in Dracula, dead, is coming down again to her, to her coffin or whatever, carrying this child, crying, scared, is the scariest scene, you can think of. Because, I mean, as a child, when I was a kid, I was seeing that, I saw the movie, I was like, oh my God, a vampire taking me back to the, tomb to suck my blood. That, to me, is like the basic primal fear that, a vampire expresses. So I agree with both WTF moments. I also think it was the same in Nosferatu, the scene with the killing of the kids of
Taylor Johnson, yeah.
Taylor Johnson's family. I think for me, the one that's stuck in my mind is the one in Dracula still.
And when Dracula feeds the baby to her sprites,
yes,
that's also, I didn't remember that scene.
Let's.
I love that scene when Monica Bellucci appears. That's probably the first time I seen her in the movie. And after that, it ends with that, the feeding of the baby. I was, oh my God, what I'm watching.
Let's give the point to Dracula. Is
what the
so
F?
well.
Yeah. WTF.
Again, Nosferatu had also a very big WTF moment, but yeah, that's it. So let's look at the sum. So Bram Stoker's Dracula wins this battle, Sebas.
I guess we will save it in our vault and make sure it stays available forever. And Nosferatu, sorry, we will have to throw you in space.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you everyone for your time. We went over a little bit today, but please subscribe, share it. We want people to participate and suggest the new versus next time. We're always looking for your comments. Remember, we are CinemaJamPodcast@gmail.com, and you can also look for us at CinemaJamPod in YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Okay, Pablo, do you have your versus for next week?
Sebas, I do. And actually, we're going to take a completely different direction for the next episode. We're going to leave the Gothic European horror and we're going to go into the good old adventures of, movies in the 80s. So there are two that I'm going to propose. I'm going to nominate for this Versus episode. So the first one is the 1984 movie from Robert Zemeckis, the same director that we talked about in the last CinemaJam episode when we reviewed Back to the Future 2. The movie is called Romancing the Stone. Romancing the Stone from 1984 with Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito. And then the next movie is Jake Speed. Jake Speed is a movie from 1986. It's a lesser known movie. It was directed by Andrew Lane. I honestly don't know who he is. I don't have a lot of background on him, nor the actors Wayne Crawford and William Fay. But it's a surprisingly good adventure 80s style movie, and I think we're gonna have fun putting them to battle.
It sounds interesting. Okay, until next time, keep jamming about movies.
Till next time. Thanks, everyone.
Listo.